kind of guy. Adam wants to do his talking in the ring when the bell goes. I was there when Dalton Smith put on such an amazing performance, and this guy's a fully rounded fighter, getting better and better. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he worked really well. Adam is still learning on the job, but to say he's not experienced enough, look at where he is. So when this young man knows exactly what he's got to do, and he's got the experience, he makes him even more dangerous. So you've got an experienced fighter that's confident in all his ability, and an inexperienced fighter that's still being successful and getting to the levels he's getting. I think that road when they cross will be an amazing road to cross. But right now, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably ignore the G saying, come on, let's do this now. I probably wouldn't. Common sense tells me, get 2 or 3 more fights in your belt, Adam. I probably wouldn't do that after seeing Dalton on Saturday night.
Is that a fight that you think might be easier to make than the one with Adam?
It's hard to say. I think probably would be easier to make as things stand right now. But you know, like you look at Harlem Eubanks and stuff. Like I've just jumped well ahead. They need to prove themselves. They need to, go in there and take a challenge like I did. And to be honest, I don't think they're willing to do that.
So if you had to have either a European title shot against someone that the common casual boxing fan won't really know, or a fringe world level fight, what would you go for at this stage?
Of course, it'd make more sense to go for a world, like you say, a world fringe level fight. But for the right opponent, and if it makes sense, I'd like a European title.
If I wanted to fight him and he was in my division, I'd be putting on as much pressure as possible to get him as early as possible. I believe Azim beats Dalton Smith now. I think he wipes the floor with him in 3 or 4 fights. And so I understand the pressure. Sometimes it feels, a bit like bullying. You've got a big platform and you go in at a young 21-year-old fighter that is a phenomenal talent, that has got to huge heights in 10 fights, has a much bigger profile. And again, I've got a lot of respect for Dalton Smith, and he's a great fighter and great performance on Saturday. But Adam Azim has a huge profile and has reached heights really quickly. Ultimately, he's with a fantastic team, a team that know how to guide fighters, a team that know when to take the right fights. And as a promoter, selfishly, it's the biggest fight that you can make. And I think always, you want the biggest gates and the biggest numbers and this and that. But ultimately, we represent the fighter, so we present options. And since the fight, because we couldn't have vacated before the fight, we didn't even know what was going to happen, you present the options. Dalton Smith's one of them, and he's got options to choose from, and that's all you can do as a promoter. And we'll stand with him, and he'll make, his team and us will make the right decision for him. I expect that to be made this week. And so, he's not going to be pushed around. And as I say, if I was the other side, I'd be desperate to get him as early as possible.
For Adam being 21 years of age, it's a huge step up for him against the guy, I think, 19-0. And it's exciting. It's also one that he can't take lightly. It's going to be a great fight.
You're very long on the tooth, but this gives ammunition for the other side to shout loud and say Adam Azim didn't want the fight. Are you expecting that to happen now off the back of these advanced talks?
Of course, yeah. Look, we've got a lot of respect for Dalton Smith and the team and stuff. But that fight's always going to be there. It really is. They're trying to get on the. They're trying to get onto Adam when he's 21 years of age, and from a boxing standpoint, he's really ready. But he has to have a couple of, big build-up fights, and I think this is exactly what he needs. As someone looking after him, I think it's a perfect step-up fight for him, and it's a really relevant fight.
So, from boxers' perspective, they could have handled this so much better.
Sure.
From a PR standpoint. I was speaking to Sam Jones about this on a recent interview. It's on the channel now. And we both agreed that if you're Ben Shalom or anyone from Boxer, because Ben Shalom doesn't do interviews at the moment with the YouTube video outlets, but anyone who represents Boxer should have just come out and said, look, Adam Azim really wants to fight. He thinks he'll knock Dalton Smith out. He's banging down my... I'm starting to sound like Eddie Hearn here. He's banging down my door and he's saying he want to knock him out. But it's our duty of care as promoters to hold them back and to pick the right fights at the right times. Do I believe that Adam Azim this is me talking as Ben Shalom. Do I believe Adam Azim beats Dalton Smith right now? Yes. Do I believe that the odds are more in his favour in 2 years' time? Even more so. Do I think he'll make a lot more money in 2 years' time for that fight? Of course. So even though he really wants to fight, we're going to make a better decision here. And then the argument about it goes away. Obviously, questions might be asked in why they delayed the purse bids rather than just withdrawing him in the first place. But you avoid a lot of the flack. And some of that flack goes to Azim as well. Even though I think most people, certainly in the industry, believe that it's nothing to do with him and that he would take the fight if it was his choice. So it's a tricky one in that sense, but I think it could have been navigated far more sensibly by a boxer. And that's why the headline is boxer balls up. The question marks there out of kindness. I think they have balls up. And I think the problem is it's not the only time this has happened. You know, you had the issue before with Fraser Clark and Fabio Wardley. Granted, they're now fighting this Sunday, of course. But, you know, pulling him out of the purse bids previously, and it's become a pattern. And this is something that fans, and this is more hardcore fans than casuals, they won't respect them for it. When Ben Shalom first started this relationship with Sky Sports, it landed really well. You had that short period where they had, what was it, Calm Brook, Taylor Catchell 1, and Liam Williams, Chris Eubank Jr., all around the same time. That was like their first slate of shows that they announced all in one go. And people were really excited. Oh, Sky are going to do really well even without Eddie Hearn. Look at these fights. You know, these are fights people want to see. There's a pay-per-view fight as part of it, etc., etc. Since then, it's gone a bit quiet. They're still putting on good shows. They're still putting on good trade fights and domestic clashes. We've seen very few pay-per-views with actual boxer fighters involved that they haven't had to buy in and work with other promoters to make. They've been completely excluded from the whole Saudi situation so far. Their fighters haven't appeared on any of the shows. They haven't been part of any of the events. And now stuff like this, it's not really going to help. You know, you want to, especially with signing new boxers as well, people that are turning over from the amateurs, you want to know that you're signing with someone who comes across as professional, trustworthy. And that's why it's a public relations battle, because boxer will say, and quite rightly so, yes, all right, we are doing the best thing by Adam Azim. You know, we are trustworthy and loyal to our fighters, because it's not the right time for Adam Azim to fight Dalton Smith. He's got a much better chance than he has now in a few years, and he'll make a lot more money from it. No one would argue with that. But if you're looking to sign with someone, you want to know that they're going to make you look good, or at least, at the very least, not make you look bad to the general public who you're relying on to make you a star.